pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Recording in progress.
And one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So, is there a copy of the, well, I guess I can grab one here. So I just wanted to confirm who is on the line. So, Linda, who's Linda?
Chris Fuhrer.
So it's just you, Chris?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I am just calling up my files for this meeting. So I would, Chris Fuhrer, yeah. Yes, yeah. So revised agenda. Okay. So I would like to start off with a moment of silence for Bill Tracy. Bill Tracy passed away last week. As many of you know, he was a former trustee as well as mayor of the village. He had a long battle with Alzheimer's these past several years. He joined the New York Army National Guard in his early 20s, and he was there for 38 years. And for an additional 15 years, Bill was a full-time soldier. And at one point, he was the longest-serving command sergeant major in the state of New York. Yep. So he was a very active volunteer. He was active in the Lions Club, St. James Catholic Church, the Pleasant Riders Snowmobile Club, and the Amsterdam Irish American Club. He is survived by his loving wife, Barbara, O'Rourke Tracy, and his children, Erin, Kathleen, Mary, Michael, and his stepchildren, Lisa and Philip. And he's also survived by his grandchildren that he also loved very much. So if we can just have a moment of silence for Bill. Okay, thank you. And we thank Bill for his service. Going on for the agenda, I would like a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from January of 2023.
Moved.
Okay, and Mark, any comments, questions, corrections? No, hearing none. All in favor, say aye. All say no. Motion carries. Are we able to hear?
She can't hear.
She dropped off again.
She can't hear, so.
Can she only do
Should I call her?
verbal or?
She can't hear anything.
There's a phone number that she can call in to do. What is the phone number?
Because she said if she can't hear, there's no point in her.
Yeah, no, there is no point. Okay, we'll work on it when she gets back. All right, so Trustee Smith will not be participating with us this evening due to technical difficulties. Okay. So at this point, I'd like you to open it up for public comment. Chris or Shorty? Okay, hearing none, we will close public comment and we'll move on to water and wastewater with Ed Sharpo. So Ed, do you want me to call up your report?
If you'd like to. And
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have a normal report for you tonight.
One
We're
sec.
going to review the five-year plan.
One sec. Tracy, would you please allow me to share?
And this plan is just on the water supply, right? Wastewater will come
Correct.
next month.
Yes. My next board meeting.
All right. Heck. Sorry, trying to call this up. 5-year. There it is. Okay. And can you see that or no? No.
No.
Why isn't it?
Nothing's.
Choose.
Well, let me read it while you're
Yep.
doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
All right, so as you all know, about a year ago, we did a 5-year plan for water and wastewater. Tonight, we're going to review a renewal of the 5-year plan, starting with water. We'll go into wastewater at our next board meeting. Since last year, we've completed some things that were on that 5-year plan, and we've consolidated a little bit. The completed parts that were on the 5-year plan are the well building controls have all been updated to soft starts and swing checks. Now we don't have the old antiquated system, which is very hard to find people to work on. Plus, it continually needs to be upgraded and fixed. So we're beyond that now. This wasn't on the 5-year plan, but it's something that we should know because in the future they'll have to be replaced again. Not anytime soon, but both pumps and piping were replaced to the wells themselves in 2018 and 2019 respectively. Meter installations have continued to be ongoing, and as we all know, the application for the water project was denied. So with those things, we have renewed the 5-year plan and added another year, obviously, because we're a year beyond that. So 2023 to 2024, we have the FEMA water crossing, which bids have come in for. That also included the structure at pump station number 2. The original cost for that through FEMA was around $53,000. The bid price came in at $94,000, I believe.
Yeah,
I
90.
have that number right in front.
Yep.
Something along those lines. So we have some things in the works with FEMA to see what we can do moving forward. Along with that, we have 2023, 2024, we have to fix the section of road in the Wolf Complex. We're going to replace the main line to alleviate the problems we keep having over and over again in the road section. This is about 200 feet. It'll include 3 to 4 service connections and should be approximately around $5,000, but I haven't actually got a quote yet. I'm getting a quote soon for the budgeting period. We also have to begin a lead and service inventory. This year will be a lot of paperwork, more so than exploratory, just to determine what we already know that's on the books. This all comes from a project that needs to be completed by October of 2024. For EPA, they've changed some lead regulations, and they want to know what we have in our system. So we have to do that inventory, and then they'll go on to stage 2, which is farther down the road, but they haven't actually released any of that information. We also would like to install the automatic transfer switch at the well building, which we've discussed in the past. This is going to be dependent on whether or not grants are received from FEMA, because we did apply for a grant for both generators, and they still haven't released who has received those yet. As of the last time we had done this, the approximate cost was about $20,000. It's probably going to be more around $25 to $30 now, just due to inflation. Along with that, we will apply again for the WIA 2 grant for the $2.2 million water project we had. We will discuss possibly increasing that amount because that's the only way they'll award money right now, unless something changes in the near future. Hopefully it does. We'll reassess as we move forward and see what we can do. And then obviously for 2023, 2024, we'll continue to install meters. Each year for those meters around $10,000. For 2024, 2025, we have to complete that lead service inventory. This will include all of our exploratory digs. The way I'm planning on going about this is we'll go by road and we'll dig a service at the beginning of the road and at the end of the road. If both are lead or neither are lead, we'll be able to justify that the entire road is lead or is not lead. That's goosenecks. We also have to do a survey for homeowners to determine if they have copper pipes in their houses and things along those lines. So we're kind of responsible for what we own, but we're also going to be responsible for what homeowners own, and what homeowners own is going to dictate what's going to happen with the lead service inventory in the future. We'll, once again, for 2024-25, depending on what happens with the WIA grant, we will apply again. We'll just continue applying every year until we hopefully get the project approved. With the 2024-2025, if we have not received the WIA grant by that time, I do believe that we should move forward with the Black Bear Run water crossing on the river side, not the lake side. It does need to be completed. It's a started project. We shouldn't leave things unfinished. It'll allow a loop somewhat on both sides of the bridge. If one side goes down, we'll still be able to supply Camp of the Woods with water on the other side. Right now, that approximate cost is around $506,000. I do have Brendan has sent to the contractor to give us a quote to actually do that work, give us an idea where we stand on a bid basis and not just an estimated basis. And then obviously for that year, we'll continue to install meters. 2025-26, we'll apply for the WIA grant again. If we have not received it again, we can look into parts of that project that still have not been completed and see if there's any funds available to do any of that work. My next priority would be the new transmission main from the well building. Right now we have one. We really should have two in case one goes down. That way we can still supply water to our tank and to the village. And then also we're going to continue to install meters into that year. And 2026-27, we should complete those water meters by those years. This is with $10,000 each year. Originally, I had estimated $46,000 for water meters. That puts us at that year to complete installations. And then, obviously, apply for grants for the water project. We just have to continue doing this every year, even though we're not in the best spot because of our median household income. But other grants do pop up from year to year, so there may be a whole other avenue we can explore. That year is going to also include our tank inspection and cleaning. That's every 5 years. We had it done this year, so that's year 5. And then obviously 2007, 2028, we'll be applying for grants still. And I would like to complete the Wolf Complex line across their yard. It's a little less worrisome going across their yard because it's there. But we got to start somewhere, so that's why we had this year for the first part. That's what I have right now for the 5-year plan. If anybody has anything they'd like to add, we can add it, no problem. That's all I can really think of at this time.
All right, I'd like to say
So that's
great job.
where we stand.
Say great job, good comprehensive plan. We appreciate your hard work on this.
Well, thank you for your guys' help because I had a hard time putting it together.
Yeah, I think something. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just hard because as the operator and from the last 9 years, I'm going on year 10, the monies just aren't always available. You look at the wastewater project. I started that when I started here in 2014, and that project is just being completed. So the funds were never there. We finally did get something going with it. Without funds, I have a hard time planning, but I'm starting to realize now that you have to plan so that you know what your funds are going to be allocated to. So, yeah, that's kind of
say what the mayor
learning.
Want to explain what you're going to do?
Yeah. So we met this afternoon to go through Ed's plan and flesh it out a little bit further. So as you know, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So with the grants, we're finding that there is an emphasis on infrastructure. However, the smaller infrastructure grants are not being funded. Yeah, they're big grants, and usually you need to be, what is that called, under a consent decree, where you haven't maintained, you haven't kept up, and now you really have to. So they get added points. So you don't get any.
Yeah, you basically have to be failing all the time, and
Right.
you don't. So.
Right. So, on that regard, I'm very grateful that for Ed and the water wastewater team that those things have gone well. We have maintained. We haven't run into issues. We are looking to continuously improve the system and create backup so that the redundancy of water not only helps Camp of the Woods, but it helps everyone south of the bridge. And that when you have to turn off certain sections, the whole village doesn't go down. Right. So, we're maintaining that. And because of that, our economy and our community can continue to thrive for that. So I think those are things we keep.
Yeah, a perfect example of this is our transmission main. If our transmission main is asbestos, I don't know how long it'll take somebody to get here to cut that piece of pipe, let's say, that needs to be repaired. It could be 3 days, 4 days. It's an emergency. They're going to charge extra, so on and so forth. We have a tank that has a 25-foot level. In any given day, we're using 5 feet of that water. So that really only gives us, 5 days before we run out of water. And once you get below, let's say, half, you're already at a critical point because our pressures aren't going to be there anymore. You'll still have water, but the pressure won't be there. So that transmission main is critical, but it's also easier to fix than, let's say, something that happens under the bridge. So that's why I'm focusing on the bridge. It's also a much cheaper project. That's something we can actually budget ourselves. A lot of this just depends on grants, and hopefully we can get them.
So to that end, in our discussion, I am crafting a letter to send to our United States senators, Gillibrand and Schumer, as well as Elise Stefanik, as well as our New York State Assemblyman and Senator, asking for any help that they can provide with these small projects, point us in the right direction. And Ed, as I had also said, I checked with interdepartmental loans, and that may also be an option that we can bridge some gaps. So technically,
like highway, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Like highway.
Yeah, from the general fund.
I discussed that with Brendan. It's significantly lower than what we would need, and generally those have to be paid back within a year.
They can be paid back within a year. No. So in general, they prefer to have a loan that's paid back within a year. But if it's longer than that, then a rate of interest would have to be determined, and then that would have to be budgeted in our extra funds as not being able to spend those things. So there is a possibility if we go down that road, but looking at all of our different options. Because we have to pay back sewer, we would have to pay back any loans, and we want to make sure that we are being fiscally responsible with the rates that are coming in. Because as we know, water pays for water, sewer pays for sewer, general fund does not pay for either, unless it's a loan that's adequately paid back. So we are looking for additional ways to fund things. All right. Any other questions, comments for Ed? Next month, he's going to go through the wastewater plan.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Your screen froze there.
Crystal?
I don't think I said this, we've only received a few calls, but the budget worksheet for 2020, budget estimates are due to the budget officer by March.
Excuse me? What's the matter?
No, I said your screen had froze.
Oh, now you're muted.
Yeah, now it's good. Now it's fine.
Okay.
Tomorrow, February 14th, at 5 p.m., all independent nominating petitions for those running for mayor or the trustee in the village elections in March need to be filed with the village clerk's office. Per state law, the office will be open until 5 p.m. Financial report number 8 is ready for, needs approval. Initially, for
Abstract.
No, abstract number 16. Needs approval. Financial report number 8.
Is available for
I
review.
think that was supposed to be, is available
Yeah.
for review. She has it.
Okay. Any questions for Tracy?
No.
No? Okay. May I have a motion to approve abstract and pay abstract number 16? Cindy, Jim, any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the abstract for payment, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay. For old business, we are still in a little stall mode for the consolidation of the planning board and ZBA. There's good news on the COVID wastewater surveillance update. We are basically staying the same, and actually we are low enough not to show up on the map for the New York State surveillance. I'm not sure why that is, because everyone around us is on the map, but we are not. So that's good. General codes update. The CEO and myself, Rick Rumsey and myself, have gone through the 160 plus questions that were brought up with the general codes. What they've done is they've looked at our local laws, they've looked at our land use code, they've looked at New York State standards that are current, and try and reconcile them, and where there are questions they have posed them. So out of that, we have to update our floodplain law that hadn't been updated in quite a while. We have reviewed our water and our wastewater laws and minor modifications there. And of course, RV will be discussed, and that would be, presented to the public. But we're still working through all of those details because a few more things have come up out of that, and we're still, depending on what that looks like, we may have an outside committee come together. One person has come forward and thrown their hat into the ring to call upon them to go forward. So that's great. And that's where we stand with general codes. I'm waiting one or two things back from Rick before we submit it to them, and then we'll sit down with the editor of the codes and work through that. I'm still waiting to hear back from DEC because they are to review the floodplain law. So I left Brad Wisniewski a couple of messages and have yet to hear back. Okay, so any other old business? No. Okay, so moving on to new business. There is a request from the Bowmans for water forgiveness. I'm just calling that up for my own sake here.
Did you know what their bill was?
$500
Yeah.
$112 or something.
It's usually about 300, and it was about $550. So on December 26th, they had a burst pipe in their home. In the words of Mr. Bowman, quote, causing an abundance of water. They are requesting a one-time forgiveness on the water bill. It has been explained. It's only a one-time forgiveness. The situation has been remedied. So, and again, one-shot deal. Does anyone have any thoughts or comments or wants to make a motion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can we forgive the whole bill, or can we just forgive to their
we can forgive to their base rate.
Yes, and I agree with that. Yeah.
To their base?
To the base rate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why we should do the whole bill.
No.
No,
I don't-
we'd never do that. We just.
Okay.
Sure.
So would you like to make that
Yes,
motion?
I'd like we would forgive them, but to their base rate.
Okay, second? Jim seconds. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Okay, well, Tracy, will you contact the Bowmans for that? Okay? Yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So the next up is to support a request for the 4th of July parade. There is a request to send a letter of support to DOT for the permit for 4th of July. Any comments, questions? We should call off 4th of July this year? Yeah, I think so. So I don't think we have to say yay or nay, but yes. So I wanted you to know that that had come in, and I'll be writing that on tomorrow. And then there is a notice to the local municipality regarding a liquor license for Michael Nalippi for the inn at Speculator. So, well, you have to inform the municipality, and you have 30 days to respond. So it's a matter of, do we need another liquor license in the village? Do we want to put a cap on them? Is there something that would make us think, nah, this isn't a great place or a great area for a liquor license? So just for the record, the Inn at Speculator has held a liquor license for quite some time. There was an issue where the license was not transferred over, or was not applied for appropriately by the Inn at Speculator, and now they're remedying that situation. So according to the Liquor Bureau, which is not included in their application, which I find very disturbing, I need to send a letter either confirming or with comments or objections. So
Just confirm, as far as I'm concerned. It's
so all in favor of confirming, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor of presenting objections? No. Okay, so
Make a motion.
no, just who is confirming, right? So the board is unanimous in confirming that I will contact the licensing bureau to have that license applied for. Okay. So next is the draft law of the EMS tax deferment law. So a question was raised today that through the fire department, they had heard that you could not pick and choose, that it was just the fire department or just the ambulance, that it had to be both. So I went back to NICOM and I asked them. And from the language that they were reading at the time on the phone, one of them said, no, that's not the case. It's an either or, both or, one or the other. So for right now, they feel that we're within our rights to only do EMS, and there are other villages who have done the same thing because they're in the same type of position. However, they're going to float it up a little higher because there's a lot of things written about the law besides just within the law as far as what the intent is and things like that. So they asked if they would be given a little bit more time to come back with a definitive answer. So since we have 4 or 5 years to implement it, I didn't think that there was a rush. So we will table that. But what I would like to do at this point in time, because it's true regardless of whether we went with just the EMS or EMS and fire, there are 3 additional sessions that the village needs to decide on whether they want included or not. So the first is a grant of a lifetime exemption. So according to the law, any eligible enrolled member who accrues more than 20 years of active voluntary service as certified by the jurisdiction would be granted the 10% exemption so long as they used their primary residence located within the village of Speculator. So long as that person is alive and they've served more than 20 years or more, they would do that. So that's one caveat. I don't see a problem with that.
No.
Okay, so I'll include that one in. Then it's an unremarried spouse of an enrolled member who is killed in the line of duty. So the unremarried surviving spouse of a deceased enrolled member who is killed in the line of duty as certified is qualified to continue to receive an exemption as long as the deceased volunteer had been an enrolled member for at least 5 years and had been receiving the exemption at the time of his or her death. So the exemption would read, if you've been active for 2 years and you're qualified and you're certified, you could start applying for the tax exemption. So in this case, the deceased would have had to serve for 5 years, had been enrolled in the program, and then their unremarried spouse would be able to continue receiving that benefit. I don't see that there's an issue with that either. Yeah. Okay. And then unremarried spouse of a deceased enrolled member. So this would be a member who had served the community for 20 years in the capacity of either ambulance or if we have to do fire. And then they would pass away, they would be eligible to continue to receive that tax deferment provided that they did not remarry.
No
And I don't see an issue with that either. Okay, so those are the 3 clauses. So when I get word from NICOM and we put this through, we'll include those, and I will let the town know because they wanted to do something comparable. So we'll let them know about that. Okay. Floodplain is very boring. You all received a copy of that. Again, I had hoped that we could post it for a public hearing. We cannot. But these are updated according to DEC. They gave specific language, specific map references, etc. We have not put anything additional into that law, but it's been very straightforward. So hopefully by next meeting, we will hear from Brad on that regard.
Does that have to do with beavers?
No, no, sorry. If only. But the geese are back in the park.
Oh, was it?
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's geese. The geese are back in the park.
Okay.
There are droppings all over the place. I don't know where they're hiding. I haven't seen them, but the remnants are there. Okay, so number 6 of new business are lifeguards. So I've had a number of calls on lifeguards. We've gone through and we've looked at what we can pay, what DEC pays, and so we are telling interested parties that we will be meeting the competitive rate of DEC at $20 an hour. We will reimburse the training course, the certification course at the end of the summer. So they can come do it, and once their summer is done, we would reimburse for that course. So I know of 2 or 3, maybe 4, who are taking the course. None have filled out an application. So what I have asked them to do is, if they are interested, and I'm sure they're confident of passing the course, is that they should be filling out an application as soon as possible, so that we can hold those placeholders, because we cannot be in a position to say, hey, we've got open position, and now all of a sudden we have 6 or 7 people applying for the job. That would be difficult for the village to handle. So ideally, if we had 3 to 4 people, that way we could have it open 6 or 7 days a week. They'd be able to switch off. They would we'd have better coverage for family events. I know the last time we had lifeguards, 2 were from the same family, and if they went on a family event or whatever, then the whole beach was shut down. So at least this way it would be able to progress. So we have also posted in the various places that we have in the past, and it is on our website. Any interested people should call the village hall for a copy of the application, please. Okay. So there has been a request for fundraising from the fire department, and I'm looking where that is. There it is. Okay. So we're not going into this in detail because there are a few things that we need to check out. There are 3 fundraising events that they would like to consider. One is a barbecue on Memorial Day weekend that would be for raising funds for the Benevolent Fund to assist people in the fire service or first responders or in the community. There are some questions about how that is done as a fire department for a community, and also the fact that there are a number of entities within our community that are helping for benevolence. So, so we just need to make sure that their bylaws are up to date to allow them to do that and what that can cover. So I'm in discussions with the fire department and we'll bring in Trustee Cindy Rumsey for that. The second is the annual t-shirt sale. The bulk of the money raised through the sale of t-shirts actually allows the department to give the members new t-shirts at no cost. And any additional funds go into the accounts for other projects that they're working on and any refreshments for meetings and calls and things like that. And then the third is a fundraiser that would be through the annual letter that is sent out. So they have a few ideas for that. So they're coming back on equipment status. So some of it is replaced equipment. And as you know, everything has a life. So just to ensure that it's outside of the life of the piece of equipment. And then they are looking for approval to apply annually for a DEC grant. So the DEC grants are generally $3,000 projects and half of it is reimbursed. So it's a 50-50 grant, 50% from DEC and 50% from the village or the fire department. So I think one of the next things they're looking at might be to upgrade additional radios for the trucks, as well as a repeater for use in those areas where there is no cell coverage, such as Auger Falls, as we head north towards Louis Lake, those sorts of places where it really is a dead zone and communications are vital. So according to village law, we have 30 days to respond to their request. If we don't respond in 30 days, then they can do what they wish. In follow-up to that, we are once again reaching out to NICOM to come and have a conversation with the fire department and any other villages who would like to participate on the administration of a fire department. And at that time, the village board would be asked to attend as well, so that we're all on the same page. It was, and the ball was dropped on the part of NICOM, and so in speaking with them today, they said, no, reach out, we'll come. Our bad, they apologized. Yep. And then the other board roundtable is BOCES does our drug and alcohol testing. And I just wanted you to know that BOCES is now requiring an annual agreement to be signed by the village. So they charge $400 in administration costs, which is pretty much what they've charged all along. There's a fee schedule for drug and alcohol testing, new hire testing, things like that, but they are adding the formality of having a contract with us, a contracted agreement.
So it's not really changing.
It's just the fact that it's formalized,
Okay.
right? So same thing. So I just wanted to let the board know that was happening, and I'll be signing that agreement tomorrow as well. So at this point, is there anything else with the board roundtable that we need to discuss? No? Is there any, I don't have it here, but if there's any other public comment before we go to executive session?
One question.
Identify yourself, sir.
It's really helpful, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
On that tax exemption, that's just on property tax, right? It's not.
Personal property tax, where the person is living, you don't get exempted on any properties that you own and rent.
No, it's not exemption on your water and sewer.
No.
Because those are
Correct. Those utilities, correct. Correct. So this is strictly your, the property tax. And right now, it would involve four or five people max for ambulance, and then looking over fire, if we were required to do that, that would probably be an additional 4 people. I did raise the question about whether homes that are held in trust would be eligible. And from what they said was, yes, they would be eligible so long as you own and reside in your home. So then, according to other precedent, they were sure that that would be all right.
I know a few meetings ago, Becky mentioned about, you get the exemption and then you're gonna have to make it up with your budget and stuff like that. It's not that much money when you look at it,
Yeah.
The average home in town is what, 150,000 assessment, and what's it?
Yeah, I think we estimated that the amount would be under $2,000 for ambulance, and then if you added in fire, no more than 4,000.
People see it in the paper, they think it's big amount.
Other percentages, right?
It helps volunteers.
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt the rest of the residents.
it's minimal, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so when that does come for public notice, I'll make sure that that information is included in the background.
$1,000 is about the bucket. Most of the time we drop in $200,000,
Well, I would like to point out that last year SBAC ran 208 calls, which was quite a lot for a 100% volunteer crew. So. Okay.
One thing we have to thank God for is film lady.
Yes.
If Andy got sick down in New York City and he had to go, he'd still be down there.
We are fortunate for Phil and Joyce and Ken and the whole crew there. Okay, so I am going to now close public comment, and I would like a motion to go into executive session to discuss an employee's leave request. So Mark and Jim, okay? So we will go into executive session, and the recording will be stopped, and we will bid you adieu, Linda, Chris and Shorty. And Declan Radio.
Rebecca's there,
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see you at school. We're gonna go to the dinner.
Recording stopped.
Our twins in Indiana, their birthday is today.
Oh, nice.
They're 21. Our granddaughter, who will turn 10, her birthday is tomorrow.
Oh,
And
sweet.
our great granddaughter, who will turn 15, her birthday is 15.
Wow. Well, you better get to your shenanigans
We're
then.
going to be partying.
Good. All right, thanks, Shorty. All righty, bye. Yes.
Bill Tracy's father, Charlie, at one time, I believe, was village attorney.
Oh, wow.
uh,